Hello, hello. Welcome to day 1080 of Connecting the Thoughts. Quote for today is establish boundaries with your ego. Now, I know I'm super late. I am supposed to have done this live almost 6 hours ago, but it's Ramadan. I wasn't at my desk, and I do apologize. So I once again, day 1080 of Connecting the Thoughts. Yes, you heard that right. 1080 of Connecting the Thoughts. And quote for today is establish boundaries with your ego. What does that mean? Let's find out on the other side of the show reel. Welcome back. Welcome back to the conversation on day 1080 of Connecting the Thoughts. Quote for today is establish boundaries with your ego. And when I say with your ego, there was a comment by Gopalan who said, for your ego should be how I see it. And I said, no, it is with your ego, because you have to work with your ego to understand where things should be taken in control by the ego and when things should be in control by your true self. So I was actually listening to this amazing conversation of Kosaji with her daughter Faria, and they were talking about understanding ego. They were talking about why things happen the way they do, and I loved how the flow, and I completely in sync with what they were saying, and that's pretty much where this conversation, this thought came in, where you use with your ego, because in my model of the world, I think that the ego is not something that is it isn't something that needs to be frowned upon. And I know some of you might be frowning when I say this, but ego isn't something that needs to be frowned upon. I think ego comes from this very sacred space of wanting to protect you. It comes from a sacred space of wanting to make sure that you aren't hurt, and that's exactly what and how Kosaji explained that. She was talking about how when you have an experience, when you speak. Think of this, when you speak from a place of ego, whenever you're speaking from a place of ego and you're aware that you're speaking from a place of ego, it often is to protect yourself from something. Very often you speak from a place of ego so that you don't shine, your vulnerabilities aren't seen through. You're protecting yourself. Your ego is literally being a shield for you. It's safeguarding you, it's taking care of you. So be friends with your ego and tell your ego that, hey, listen, I know you love me, I know you care for me, I know you mean the best for me. However, let's have some boundaries in place. Let's establish some boundaries. Let's understand that, okay, this is where you step in if need be. And I would like to make that decision of whether you need to even show up or not. Yes, being humble is great. Being humble, I'm all for being humble. If you've seen my work, you know that I'm constantly speaking about being humble. However, what I'm also saying is, do not look at your ego as something that is very, very bad and dark. It isn't. And your ego is there for a purpose. Your ego is there to take care of you as well, so that you don't get hurt as you did in the past. Your ego is often there to kind of take care of you, to shield you, to protect you from anything that might kind of do that to you. So when you come sit with your ego, when you befriend your ego, and then you establish boundaries and you understand that, hey, listen, I got this. Hey, buddy, I got this. I can do this. I'm capable of it. That's when your ego begins to understand that, yes, I can put my guards down. I can. It's okay. It's all right to show myself, to show you, the true you, as the one with the flaws. I don't have to be perfect. The ego tries to cover you up and show you as perfect. The ego tries to cover you up and show you as you've got it all. However, when you establish those boundaries with your ego, that's when you realize that, okay, this is how it is. And I am not completely perfect. I do have my flaws. I will have my fumbles. I will have those times when I might not even know what to say. And that's okay. Once you kind of put your ego to ease, when you kind of befriend and establish that this is how it's going to be, and I'm okay with that, that's when the ego kind of is rest assured. It is assured and kind of feels like, okay, it's all right to kind of bring those guards down, to kind of, be a little more relaxed and calm and come from a place of authenticity and show up as the true you. Show up as the true you with all your flaws and amazing mistakes, and just be the person that you are. Be perfect as you are. So these are my thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. What your thoughts are on establishing boundaries with your ego, understanding, getting to know your ego, befriending your ego, and asking your ego to just take a chill pill and just not be so paranoid, not to be so afraid of what's going to happen, how things are going to shape up, what are people going to think of me, not always want to be in the right. So if this has been of value to you, please write in comments saying I'm perfect and flawed. I am perfect and flawed in comments if this has been of value to you. Tag a friend who needs to receive this message. Tag a friend who's struggling so hard and constantly beating themselves down. Their ego is constantly beating them down because they feel they're not good enough. Your ego is constantly beating you down because it wants you to show up as perfect. But the moment you let go of that need to be perfect by saying, I am perfect and flawed, that's when you're telling yourself it's okay to be flawed. It's perfectly all right to be flawed. And that's when you take the power away from the ego and you establish a boundary where you decide what happens next and not your ego. So these are my thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. If this has been of value to you, please write in comments saying I am perfect and flawed. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. And until tomorrow, keep smiling, keep shining, stay safe. And thank you for connecting the thoughts with me. Thank you so, so much. Thanks. Thank you.